Greetings, folks. Sorry about that. Greetings, folks. Coin here, or Swirling Vortex, or Steven, and welcome back to some more Elden Ring Reforged routing. Hopefully everybody is doing all right. I do apologize for the whirlwind week starting on Thursday, basically. All was bad. Arm flared up. Then I had a pug that I was taking care of. And then the makeup stream that I was supposed to do yesterday, well, that kind of ended up going to pot, really. Absolutely awful. In the meantime, however, first, let me make sure I ask everybody, how are you doing today? Hopefully work is treating you well. Hopefully life is treating you well. And like, move this as far to the left as I possibly can. Okay. There. I'm trying a new setup, or like a slightly different camera position. You guys will have to let me know how that sounds. Hopefully, you know, I'm coming into the mic all right. I figured out some neat tack that I could use the next time that my mic gets a little bit testy, shall we say. Let's see, what other top of the hour things do we kind of need to do around here? Why do I feel like this is loud for me? Might be. Hang on, I'm gonna adjust something on my end. There. And I guess before I need to make sure that I can hear myself properly. And that you got... Alright. There's just, also, I feel like the gain's a little bit loud. Let's set that to, like, 1 decibel and see if that maybe helps. Alright. So, back to the top of the hour materials. First, I have a new horse mod to show you guys, because of course I do. This lovely horse is still named Torrent. That has not changed at all. But instead of it being the Falling Star Beast, I've got a I'm sorry, lump at the back of my throat. I have a cuckoo, like, barded horse. Just great. Here, let me show you guys, the mod page. It is a torrent replacer. It is made by a lovely chap or author named The Wide Murloc. This is what it looks like in base game. The barding, ironically, does not cover the butt, but that's not a big deal. I also changed up our appearance, but I think I did that last time. I am rocking the Red Mane Knights set for Transmog. What else? Need to find my spot in the thing again. Just need to find the Celia hideaway. That's really what it is. Right, here we are. I haven't forgotten our place, I just needed to find it on the tracker. Now, before we begin, I first want to welcome you guys to Elden Ring Reforged. It is an overhaul mod made by Team Reforged, spearheaded by Kirnifr and Avidian. That would be the mod author and the lead graphics contributor. Note that is not the same as, like, modeling and stuff. That's done by Dragon Slayer Hanalov and Poe Concept, and we have a QA tester by the name of Cavu. Or Cavo. It might be Cavo now that I think about how it's spelled. Anyway, more importantly, this is a Vanilla Plus style overhaul that meaningfully changes almost every aspect of your experience in Elden Ring, ranging from ducking to perfect attack swings. Here, I could show you. You notice those red flicks just now? That's one of the new mechanics where if you time the attack right, you get some extra damage. I did not mean to catch flame there. To the way that stats work, to the fact that there is a level cap in the game, to the fact that there are various subsystems such as binding runes, to the way that equip load works. Like, there are way too many changes to name off, but I've just named off 7 of them. If you'd like to know more, you can type in !ERR to bring you to the mod page with the files on it. You can type in !ERRD to get to the Elden Ring Reforged Discord. You can type in !ERRW to get to the wiki. Note that the wiki page is slowly being migrated over to a new, like, I guess a web or domain hosting would be the proper way of saying it. In layman's terms, we're changing websites. We're slowly transitioning to a new one. So, when that time comes and it's properly filled out and everything, I will update the ERRW command with the appropriate link. Until then, though, the fandom wiki is pretty sufficient. Without further ado, I think we've cut... Oh, right. New bottom of the... or top of the hour material. So, you may have noticed that we are still on the Petrocrystallians. That is still the case. However, Kirnifr has clued me in, and I really should have been paying better attention. There is a pot that we can throw in order to mark an enemy. It is called the Cursed Blood Pot. Throw at enemies to douse them in accursed blood, making them receive more status buildup, and causing summoned spirits to assail them with a rabid fervor. We don't care so much about the status buildup, as nice as that is. What we care about is it causes summoned spirits to focus on them. That's essentially what it does. It acts as targeting. So we're going to make 4 of these lovely things. I've already put it in my notes. Speaking of which, if you guys want to know the notes, I will demonstrate this for you now. But if you ever want access to my route notes at any time, you can type in !DRoute in order to bring up the link to the Google document I'm maintaining that has all these notes on it. So I'll demonstrate this on Twitch now as soon as I activate the ghost chat, because apparently that got turned off. I knew I was forgetting something. Vanish. Thank you. Okay. On YouTube and on Twitch. And of course, that's not going to show on my screen. Because I have my own chat messages squelched in ghost chat. You're never gonna see those, along with any bots that I have. You shouldn't see those. If you do, please let me know. Now, we have finally made it out. We've made it out of things I need to do as part of bookkeeping. We're going to begin the actual routing now. So hopefully everybody is doing well. Please let me know if I'm too quiet, too loud, the audio is too quiet, too loud, etc., etc. If I need to change the limiter on it, please let me know. I want to do the best that I can. I'm looking up there. Forgive me, force of habit, and I can't exactly tell I can't cross-eye myself. It's not gonna work. So you guys have to let me know if I'm not looking into the camera or camera aperture appropriately. Anyway, just gonna shift this very slightly to the right, so I'm looking dead at it. Anyway, adjusting my mic. Where were we? Let's just get back to it. Now, we're going to be running through this particular cave as we've killed things, and if we kill things here, we're not going to have any resources for the boss unless they are quite literally scraps. It's fine if I lose one flask. We were probably gonna lose it anyway. Just from trying to run through and having, have, like, glintstone scraps homing in at us. That was always going to be a problem. And I've adjusted our spell loadout. We have less spells on it, but that's just a matter of... Since there's not like a spell radial or anything, unlike the controller, or like the way the controls are mapped are hard-coded from what I understand, so you're not allowed to change that unless you like find the engine and literally use the engine yourself, which I guess at that point you're making your own game, right? Hello, Snake Snail. Goodbye, snake snails. Let's make sure we no longer need bone darts, as nice as those would be. Instead, what we want to do is go back, summon our beasts, put on the Spirit Fury, and then mark the one in question. Actually, you may want to mark the one in question first. Nice. Oh, that's not gonna work. Guaranteed. That worked a lot better. My problem was trying to kill the putrid crystallian with a mark on it. My mistake was marking the enemy, not the other tactics. That actually completely helped us out in a way I was not expecting. We don't have any runes to speak of. Should I mark them? Should I, like, farm a bit for that? I don't know if that's particularly very worth it. And if I do, I'm farming with generators only, which may not be the best. The extra stats couldn't hurt. Well, let's do that real quick. This yellow-eyed enemy, it may actually help us a lot. I believe these drop 30% more runes on a kill. Oh, look at that. An easy 1,000. No, it's like it's like either 5 times or like a 400% multiplier. It's one of those two things. We're gonna make this lovely thing. So for those who don't know about me, hi, my name is Coinstamp. I am... I wish I could say I'm still a student, but I cannot. Instead, I must say the truth. I'm a bum. I'm not really headed anywhere in life right now. I am slowly trying to build up some sort of unofficial house drop, house sitting business, but alas, that isn't really going according to plan either. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely a problem. Just get in there. That was my bad. I need to be keeping boluses in my inventory. That was just a complete wash. Well, I think we found our spell. We found our summons. I mean, I don't think it makes much difference. And, you know, as I've said before, the Putrid Crystallians are by far one of my worst fights. There's just so much shit happening on the screen. It's not funny. There's just so much that could go wrong in the course of a split second. It's not... Yeah, just... Oh. Nice, nice. Instant waste of Beast Pot. Yep, I'm fine with that. We just go ahead and... Of course, item cycling isn't much better than spell cycling, but at least it's less involved on average. So what was I saying? Right. So during boss fights, you may have noticed this already, but I do not talk during those. This is to, I had to look at the screen and do this at the same time, and look at the camera. I heard something, I couldn't tell. Ah, that's what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you may have noticed that anytime I have to take my focus away, I generally don't talk. But it's especially bad during bosses. I generally do not talk during those. I'll, like, acknowledge your sentence or whatnot, but If you ever want to know about that protocol, you can type in !BOSS, all lowercase. No quotes. And you'll get that little memo that works for Twitch and YouTube. The only command I have that doesn't seem to work on YouTube for some silly, strange reason is the build command. I've tried different designations. I've tried all manner of things, and I cannot get that particular command to spit out. I don't know if it's like a technical hard limit I've reached, or it's something else. Okay. Come in, summon. I'll also... I am running out of materials to make these, so I don't want to continue dying. Let's get it this time. Alright, come in, summon, dodge, lure pot, which I want to have in hand already. Then flame of frenzy spam. Okay, good, we got him. Stop tossing those discs. Oh my god, that is spam. Come in. I need to keep this Crystallian in view. Nope, run. I got caught on the terrain. It's my fault. It is 100% my fault. Alright, we're gonna go without rune arcs. Have to. I need to just start going without them altogether. Because there are better ways to use my resources than constantly make rune arcs. I need to be better at this game, is what it actually is. But you see what I mean? The slightest slip up, if I tense up for a second, if I lose focus for even an infinitesimally small moment, game over. Game over, give up, reset. Just period. Alright, let's just... I want to get through this fight. I want to get through this fight and start practicing another one. This is one I will be, you know, practicing a lot. I just need to, get some kind of a save split going. I don't know what that's gonna be yet. Okay. Yep, that's exactly what had to happen. Alright. So, note that that particular split is a moment of weakness for me. You know... Hey there, Rasby. Good to see ya. How are you doing? Hope you enjoy your stay. Glad I could have you back. Oh, I don't think so. You guys aren't fitting any... The game is a tiny bit loud. Alright. Let me adjust the limiter. Hang on. I need to adjust it at least 3 decibels. Alright, I've adjusted the limiter by 4 decibels. How is it? Still loud? Notice with time? Gotcha, yeah, it's a bit hard to tell right now. Yeah, the game's in a naturally quiet state. I don't blame you. I remade my Twitch notification app. It kind of irreversibly broke a few months ago. Oh, sorry to hear that. Spent the whole day rebuilding it. Was it just tedious? Was it really difficult? And do you know what about it broke? Just out of curiosity. That's how I know you were live. Thank you. Alright, where were we? While we wait. We can finally move past that split. Alright, isolated merchant shack. That is all the way over here. I already know exactly where it is. What's the best way to reach it? It's gotta be... It's... Oh, okay, I know. I gotta go to the Church of the Plague. That's what that's what has to happen. And how are things in Romania? If and you don't mind my asking. Yeah, Twitch API didn't change? Gotcha. I think something about my server is responsible for tokens. Okay. However, I realized that instead of creating a user token and refreshing it, there's a thing called application tokens which live only on the server. Ah, okay. A little beyond my ken, but I think I'm parsing what you're saying. Tokens are like a bit of recognition for code or a bit of information passed through for it, right? If I remember correctly. I'm excited to be working on a new boss. Tokens are temporary keys. Okay. For the API to know that's you. Okay, so it's like an identity badge, kind of. I'm trying to, like, parse it in non-coding terms, but yeah, that sounds right. And I went down the hill instead of up the hill. Let's go up the hill so we can take the Spirit Spring jet. I'm surprised that I haven't gotten a pest thread cast at me yet, but I think we're in the clear now. Better make this jump. And we have to get up. Regarding Romania, not sure what's new, but I suppose nothing terrible, or else you would have heard about it. Valid. Stasis, I suppose, is better than agony. Is that a dragon? That is, in fact, a dragon. It is not one of not joined here because you've had a lot of things going on. Yeah, I can imagine. So outside of like the Twitch thing in Romania, I know you've... Damn you, dragon. How goes the stocks of Rasbia? I think that's something you were still working on, but I don't know how busy life has been for you since. Other than, you know, obviously you being really busy. I don't remember how far ago, or how long ago it was when we last talked about it, but it's been abandoned for a while. Busy life, right? Yeah, completely valid. I do not expect anybody to be here or there. Okay. Coin. 55 miles a minute. Let's slow it down a bit. Current side project is kind of building automated scripts for everything and maxing out an organization. You started using Amazing Marvin. Ooh, tell me more about that. I've not heard about that in a while. The last kind of organizer program I have heard about was like Obsidian, and I already have it installed, and it's mostly for keeping office tasks collated. To-do apps? No, not in the way I'm probably thinking of the... I do not want to die here. Give me a couple seconds. These guys are a right handful. It's not an attack spell. Let's try that again. I'm trying to think of any, like, Taskmaster apps I've used in the last 4 or 5 years, and I can't think of any. I usually just log my stuff manually. The closest thing I can think of is using, like, Google Calendar, but that is not a to-do app. That is something completely different. So, Amazing Marvin is a to-do app aimed at people with ADHD. Ah, okay. It's really simple to use and customizable for when you need it. Highly recommend it. Has a 30-day trial. Don't need to use a debit card nor verify your email. Let me write that down. Sorry, scribbling and doing tests on pens. Thank you for providing that link. Very much appreciated. That is a https : or I'm sorry, that is a : / and then those two words merged together. Okay, I've written that down. I'll check it out in my spare time. Thank you. I have a lot of experimental stuff to look at, game mods to try, videos to watch, and using Discord was too hard to manage after some time. Too hard to mark things as done, knowing what had to be done, and couldn't schedule stuff easily. Yeah. I tried a bot that does that, but writing commands and thinking of times was kind of difficult. Marvin is very nice. Press 2 clicks and I can schedule or reschedule or set due dates. I'll have to think about the fact that I require a job to go beyond the 30-day trial. I probably should see a video of it first, beforehand, but I will look into it. as I'm always looking for ways in which to keep myself on schedule. I've been trying to get a editing project for the Let's Play I'm doing done, and I'm 3 weeks behind schedule, something like that. Unfortunately, between lots of stuff happening in my life, being the rather proud owner, and I mean proud in quotation marks, owner of unemployment and tons of debt, I have to figure out how to climb out of the hole I'm in. So my mind is always very preoccupied. So being able to keep myself straight, whether through an app or anything, is always nice. Student debt. Yeah, so I ran out of funding to continue pursuing my bachelor's, and all my debt is federal. That sounds difficult. Grateful you don't have to deal with that. Yeah, definitely be grateful. I owe debt around 60,000 US dollars. It's not as bad as some people have it. Some people have hundreds of thousands in debt from private loans. But when you're in debt, you can't take a private loan, as far as I understand, as I have no disposable income to speak of, which is useful for, like, loan accreditation and stuff. So, long story short, I have 2 degrees that are absolutely useless to everyone. So I am trying to find something that is within my wheelhouse, that doesn't require me working a factory job, although I'm willing to take those if necessary. And it harnesses the existing skill set I have, which, for the moment, that means a house drop business of sorts. I'm trying to get a house drop business off the ground, where essentially people pay me to either watch their things for a few hours or sit at their house and watch it for X number of days. That's more or less what I'm doing to try to get out of the hole. I don't know how well it's going to work, but it's at least something. Considering I've applied at various jobs for about a year and have had no success because everyone wants prior experience, and you can't get experience if everyone is asking for prior experience. It's completely asinine, so I'm carving my own way out. It is, but I skate by. I have a nice support network. They're understanding. Appreciate any sympathies. Fun fact, the vast majority of autistic people are jobless. You know, I had a interior design instructor in high school that talked behind my back to my sibling and said that I was going to be a burden to society and I would never make it anywhere. And I've never felt those words be more true, as vile and puerile as they are, than this moment in my life when I'm about to turn 32. And what do I have to show for it? Knowledge no one cares about. Debt that I own. And I cannot really seem to escape it. My fault. A lot of my choice. I own my choices, but it still sucks. And the world seems to view people like me under the lens of we're useless burdens, and literally aborting us would be a better solution than live with us. I don't like saying that this world that we live in is not mine, but it feels like it. On the bright side, if you make it out, you will have a really cool story. Thanks. I appreciate that. Sometimes statements like that are just what I need to put things in perspective. I really appreciate that. God, I feel like I want to move on, but I want to sag out of it properly. This world really wasn't built for autistic people, unfortunately. Something me and my sibling talk about every time we get together, as we're both on the spectrum. At least I didn't fall through the cracks, so the government knows about me, but doesn't really lift a finger otherwise. And my sibling didn't really get diagnosed with being on the spectrum until much later in life, after the damage of slipping through the cracks had already kind of taken their toll. So, yeah, the world wasn't built, but that just means I have to fight that much harder. And I will do that. I'm not going to slake off this mortal coil. I will not give up. It's just going to take time, and there might be a lot of pain involved. Physical, mental, emotional pain of all kinds. Makes the reward much bigger because the challenge is bigger. Exactly. It wasn't a challenge I asked for, but it's a challenge I'll take. Thank you. I really needed that. What does this merchant have to say?
Well, how can I help?
I do have things I could sell you, but why would I? Throwing chakram, no, we don't need that. I will take another ritual pot. We might want to start stocking on those.
Have a safe journey.
So, what about university? Or, your internship, was it? I know you had both of those things going on the last time we talked. How are those, turning out for you? While you're telling me about that, I am going to set up, and begin working on the next boss. If you want to. If you don't, that's okay. Have a job for 1.5 years now? That's awesome. Finish uni, decide not to. Just curious. Doing quite a lot of stuff, working with some audio devices. Awesome. Awesome. I'm happy for you. Hold on to that. Although I know you're already doing so. Okay. So I think as soon as I step out here, 2nd year of uni out of 3. Awesome. Awesome. I hope that's going well as well. As a reminder, just to anybody who's listening in, not specifically just you, I have a lovely command. If you type in !BOSS, all lowercase, no quotes, I have a little notice about bosses. I do acknowledge sentences, but I do not necessarily reply to them. It's one of those, I'm focused on something, but I'll reply as soon as I can. Either when I die, or when I kill the boss. One of those two things. So while you're telling me more about how university is going, if you're interested in it, I'm going to step out of this ramshackle house and begin this boss fight. And with that, I will see... Oh, I guess before that, we should adjust our spells, huh? Let's do that. Yeah, I can keep talking while this is happening, but I did want to put out the notice about that command. What do we need here that's different? Anything? Not really. I may want Blood Boon, because this boss actually is susceptible to status. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this spell loadout. All right. I'll see everybody on the other side of this boss fight. Wish me luck, although I hope I do not need it. Okay. Got it. That took a couple minutes, but we got it. Thankfully, there were no merchants harmed in the making of this boss attempt, and I did that without taking a single death to that. Funny, the easiest things give me the most difficulty, but the more difficult stuff, not a problem. Let me catch back up on messages. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so hyper aware of how autism works and how we like use structure a lot. This command's an example of it. Also, your speech pattern is highly oriented on the meta stuff. That is also how my speech pattern works. Gotcha. It's highly relatable with hard things being much easier than the other way around. Specifically with Elden Ring, I find this to be the case, or like with Soulsborne titles in general. Dark Souls 3, the bosses that people were like, just parry this one boss. It's super easy. Can't do it. I do my best, but it's always inconsistent. But something like, say, Dark Souls 3 Nameless King, one of the hardest boss fights outside of DLC. It's hard, but I'm so used to the patterns. I'd have to relearn them again, but I got used enough to the patterns that it wasn't easy, but it was manageable. That's the right word I want to use with Soulsborns. It was very manageable. And people would often ask, how do you make it look so easy? Difficulty levels are pretty individual. Yeah, very subjective things. Just kind of something I've noticed about myself. Alright, next one is much less a boss and moreover a boss gauntlet. Thankfully, all we have to do is, kill a bunch of Grail's children. I am not sure I want to be hitting that dog. I think that dog is going to come to me regardless. I have a surprise for you, doggo. Okay. Punching it was not the surprise. Alright, where were we? I think I've sort of noticed this trend for a while, where my sibling will often ask me, I don't know how you have the patience to deal with all these bosses, or deal with the random BS and, not throw controllers on screen or what have you. That is a conversation we've had before, and my usual reply is, we both have played the Soulsborne titles, so you should know by now that if you don't have patience, you're not going to have a good time with, having your face beat in several times over with a game like this. You have to be... Uni's going good? Gotcha. On schedule with everything so far? Good, good. However, you had to cut quite a lot from your life to be able to be on schedule. Yep. And whenever I add any other hustle, you get behind. That's something I guess I probably should have learned. And sometimes in regular situations, you're behind schedule. Yeah. That's uni. That's university. Constantly crunch time. All the time. And depending on the field, might even have to put up with some rather unmoored egos. The egos I wish did not exist. When I was studying at Augusta University, the biology department was strict but fine. But it was specifically the chemistry and physics department. I don't know what the deal with the chemistry section of that department was, but the rules weren't strict, but everyone had an ego. You know, everyone had a specific way they did things, and it was almost always even though I know the school rules say this, it works this way because I say it does. Stop playing games kind of completely. Yeah, I would imagine so. I stopped exercising because we have pool class every week. Yep. And it's more than enough for the health benefits. I also still take breaks and walk, but that's about it. I also stopped doing game dev and game design. Yeah, you gotta carve a lot out to make room for uni. Maybe that's what happened to me. I just didn't carve enough out of my life in order to make room for it. Maybe I didn't make as much room as I should have. Introspection, you know? However, you did join Evil Star, a Romanian game dev team, as a game design consultant. Nice. This is on top of this other stuff you're doing. I'm impressed. Well, you cut out a lot of the fun things from what you just told me. So I suppose I should ask, how does your life feel now? Does it feel like a husk of what it once was? Or... Oh, yeah, and I'm also continuing along this other conversation. Right now, this is in the early stages. I have the ghost chat right on the screen. I should be looking. We're making a 3D city builder on a volcano. That sounds interesting. Typically, dev projects are under a lot of NDA, but what else can you tell me about it?
Share them with me.
While we continue traipsing toward the next boss. For those who have not been here before, just as an FYI, I do my best to try to be entertaining, but I'm definitely not perfect at this sort of thing. I know, I've been doing this streaming thing for a long time. But people are, I never really quite know what people like, so... If there's something I could be doing to make your experience a more fun one, please let me know. I'm willing to try just about anything, at least once. I don't know if that's a different game, or if it's something I'm saying or not saying. And I'm always curious about perspectives from other streams, so... If anyone has anything they'd like to say, let me know. Oh, I did not want to bump into you this early on. Or rather, I wanted to go around. I don't think that's how this is gonna work now, though. I wasn't expecting this to be a codex entry, but here we go. Okay, it's a small team, 5 people. We aren't paid because the company didn't make enough. Oh, that's sad. Didn't sign any contract and we don't need NDAs for what we're doing. Evil Star made 2 games so far. Awesome. Joined it because they're the designer. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't die. The dev's a good friend of yours. We used to discuss design almost daily for a long time. Gotcha. Well, damn you, dragon. Oh, I didn't mark it with the codex. Yep. Yeah, everyone in the team has 1 to 2 jobs on the side. Ah, I joined knowing there's no money because you want to make a high-quality experience. And I have what they lack in terms of skill set. That's awesome. I hope that works out well. And I hope it becomes lucrative eventually. And that's just kind of you know, wishing for someone's well-being kind of thing. You always want the stuff you invest your time into to be worth your while. And you don't want to do something for nothing. It has to be fulfilling. Regarding overall, somewhat happy. Pivoting back to the other statement from earlier. You don't know exactly what to do with your life or what you want to do. I know I want to prioritize friends and family and prioritize my state of mind over productivity and such. I think I'm in about the same, you know, I'm not nearly as well off, but I think I'm in about the same place. I still believe in what I studied in for when I was at university. I still believe in it now. If I could find some way to pay for it, I would happily go back. As I think biodefense is something that our species sorely needs. We are not prepared for the next COVID-19. And do I want there to be a next one? No, I don't. But being prepared for that kind of thing is just important. But I have to face my reality, and I probably can't go back. Not unless I figure out somehow not only to forbear my own debt, which I have put under forbearance twice before, and I figure out how to entirely make the tuition and fees all on my own. And that's like a $12,000 a year experience. There's like a few thousand. It may not be 12,000. That was the last number I figured out. It's like 4 to 6K for the tuition. It's like another 1,000 for any other unnecessary fees. Probably like a couple hundred for books, a couple hundred for subscription services that the school might require. And then like another couple of hundred for like fees and such. It's like at least 8K a year. And that's without considering like debt payments or other things. But I think outside of that very grave thing I'm dealing with, I'd like to think I'm mostly a happy individual. Before you could do game design and other things, because I do it at work, and you were free at work, but right now there's been a lot of stuff to build. The projects we're working, it required a full rewrite, and your other coder on the team was assigned to a different project. Yikes. Starting tomorrow. Okay, starting tomorrow, that's important. Got 2 weeks to build a program that runs on a new device. On top of that, you need to both write code and configure a display using some proprietary app, and requires image editing skills. And probably not just, oh, I can crop the image, or, oh, I can burn the image. That's one thing I can say that has changed since the last time. The last time you and I spoke, is I've gotten a little bit better with my image editing skills. Here's one of my new emotes. I made it myself. Is it good? No, absolutely not. But it is mine. I have an art program. I have been using it for a while, but the most I can do with it is make shapes, change the colors, apply filters, and whatever I can learn off of YouTube. Identity is more valuable than it being high quality. I'm not sure I have an identity among my artwork yet. I'm using emotes from 3 different authors me being one of them. One of them I actually paid for, and it's worth a damn. The other is like, well, I paid an exorbitant amount of money for something I might have been able to do myself, given time. Oh, by identity, you mean that you made it yourself. Gotcha. Well, I guess I do have that, huh? Yeah, I guess I should take more pride in that than I already have, huh? I mean, I don't want it to go to my head or anything, but... I guess I should stop selling myself quite so short, because before, I would not have been able to do that at all. In a year's time, I've effectively learned to not outsource work that could go to anyone else. What we're gonna do, while we... Sorry, let me try that sentence again. Yeah, the brain fog has gotten a little bit worse since last time as well. What we're going to do is hopefully not die, number one. Number two, we are an hour in, a little bit over that actually, so I'm going to get up and take a stretch break and all that other fun stuff. I generally spend about 5 minutes doing that, so please feel free to get up and stretch for yourselves, or, you know, feel free to sit here and talk amongst yourselves. That's on YouTube and Twitch. Multi-streaming, by the way. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Let me point us towards sources of trouble. When I return, we will be focusing on killing Grail's children. Yes, that sentence is contextual. They're dragons. And we will continue this really riveting conversation about identity and artwork and the stuff you were working on at your game dev company. And with that, I will see you guys in 5 minutes. Take care of yourselves until then, and thank you. My apologies, folks. Sorry about that. I ended up having to look for something. It took me a little bit longer to find it than I wanted, but I did in fact find it. And it has been properly stowed away. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the commercial break. I think I forgot to mention that there were ads during these. I've kind of been doing it for so long, like ads at about the same intervals at all times. But nice thing about ads, if you've ever paid for Twitch Turbo, you can totally get rid of those. $12.65 US will get rid of them for you. I hate ads myself, but I don't think I want to give Bezos more money than he already has. Speaking of which, speaking of like Bezos for just a second, me and my sibling and my mom and a few others were a few other of my friends were hamming it up at my mom's pre-birthday celebration yesterday, and we thought it would be funny to pitch the imaginary idea of putting all of the billionaires, tech gurus, and like Bill Gates, just all of the hyper wealthy elite. We thought it would be funny to conjure up a scenario where it would be on the moon. What if they were all shipped to the moon and they take all their knowledge with them? That might not work over that well in the long term, but you know, considering to be as wealthy as they are, you kind of have to be a bit cutthroat. I'm thinking maybe. We were thinking maybe. It wasn't just me. They would sort of cut each other's proverbial throats and try their best to eliminate the competition while they're up there. Have the moon solely to themselves. Oh, and don't forget Elon Musk as like everyone's favorite wild card. It's great. We got a good chuckle out of that yesterday. And yesterday I was still at that function until 12, or like basically at the crack of dawn this morning. Also, Mom, if you're listening to this, happy birthday to you. Well, that thought scenario is definitely an example of the stuff you had to give up for to be able to have the life that you have. Yep. I'm mostly oblivious to the rich people out there, or what exactly companies do, and even more oblivious to politics and such. Yeah, I totally get that. I don't know why I'm like leading this dragon on, hoping that something will change, but I was about to say, are you gonna make your way around that branch or not? That's probably a pretty good way to conduct yourself, if I'm being honest. Just focus on your life. There's only so much you can really do about the world that's beyond your control anyway. And really, the only reason I even participated in that amusing thought experiment was I happened to be right there. I flicked around at the last possible second, oblivious to a lot of things, social media, news. I think I probably would be too, if, you know, I weren't doing this whole content creation thing. And I only really keep up with news that affects me. Oh, hello. I wasn't expecting a third. But whatever. I'm sure there's plenty of room to party, guys. Come this way, right this way. Yeah, I think I would only if I weren't doing this, I would definitely not Wow, this is just... Yeah, I knew I would probably make that type of error. Regarding, I guess, social media, I think I've kind of come back to where I originally was on the issue before I ever started using it. What need do I have of it? Like, at all? Because the thing about social media I've come to realize is there's way more negativity on it. I mean, the ideal is that people would use it to stay in touch with each other and, you know, spread news. Like, there are good things to be had from it, but the bad has outweighed the good as time has progressed. Because if there's anything in life that is certain, is that whatever you create as either like a last resort or it's meant to enrich people's lives, in most cases, bad humans are going to use it. And they're going to use it to they're going to use it for a subversion of the reason that you have for making the social media in the first place. That or the thing in general, I should say. Whether it's the atomic bomb or it's the technology. Grail? Really? Alright. He didn't have to knock me off my horse. He really didn't have to do that. But whatever. I think it's dependent on the community that you're in. It's another thing. I'm in the kind of not staying in any community because you value the freedom of deciding exactly when you do what and for how long. As a replacement, I have like 13 friends or so that you talk to periodically. Yeah, I need to fix that for myself. You guys think you're gonna surround me? You've got another thing coming. Well, let me slip right through that crack there. I should do the same, even if it's just for my own sanity. And I think one of the things for me is I need a friend group that's like purely mine. The friend group I have is the same friend group that my sibling has, maybe plus or minus a few individuals. And not that I dislike my sibling or anything, but there's just a very different dynamic that's involved when you share the exact same things with your siblings. It's almost like, even though you're married, you still need interests that are your own, right? I feel the same is true for siblings. You kind of need space away from each other's things, or you become very nasty individuals over time, and especially as you share the thing for a prolonged period. And friends are no different. Not really. Oh, have you guys just decided to go somewhere else? I guess I can only kite them so far, huh? I'll have to, like, change the way I'm kiting them. Oh, yeah, please sit around this. Just do this and nothing else. Yeah, typically every person receives like an attention budget, but your brain doesn't automatically scale up if you spend too much time with a person. Yeah. And I wish I could say my sibling and I get along all the time, but we don't. Like, even at just the, you know, the pre-birthday celebration, there were definitely some really testy moments that obviously I wish I could take back, but that's not how time works. Ow, this hurts. Give me just a second. I'm fighting 3+ dragons, and this is really, really difficult. Make that 4. Is that a boss hit? So Grail's in this. Actually, make sure I'm in the right listing. So Grail is a very interesting boss, where Grail itself does not have a health bar, but the way the encounter works is that you have 6. She has 7 children, and they share a fraction of her total HP, split amongst each other, and you need to kill 5. 20% per dragon. You need to kill 5 to kill Grail. They have red eyes. They phase out if you kite them. If you attempt to like outbox them, it's a bunch of really annoying stuff. And you can no longer attack Grail herself. You must attack her children. I'll reply to that sentence in just a moment. Grail is one of those, it's not really a boss encounter, because it's a bunch of, minor dragons. But if stuff becomes too hairy, I kind of have to do this really strange switch mid-encounter. So forgive me if I suddenly lose focus for a second in conversation. And that's just for anybody listening. If I'm not talking and I suddenly start talking with Grail, it's because the dynamics of the situation have changed. Grail's a very weird encounter in Elden Ring. That's one of the reasons you don't have that much time. You really prioritize dealing with the long-term side of those issues. I can learn a lot from that. Unfortunately, dealing with too many things in the short and midterm kind of cost me my life. That's also why you studied mental health. Like mental health materials, maintenance, that kind of thing. It tells you how to deal with this stuff proactively. Yeah, it's super hard. It's really hard to put your ego aside. It's only human. And then focus on the connection and not on controlling the other person. And then also have that person be resourceful enough. That looked like that paragraph is going to continue, so I will wait until you finish typing it. But to respond to the portion I can read, ego is like a big thing. I've learned to put my egos aside. Oh, it is type. Okay, it didn't have a period, so I thought maybe there was some sort of run on, but no, we're good. So the big thing for me is I like to think, you know what? No. There are cases where I don't have an ego, and then I think there are definitely cases where I do my best, but my ego shows through anyway. My appearance is one of those things. So, still wearing a spring shirt. Like, you guys do not get... You do not get me in a t-shirt and shorts. Or, I'm not in relaxed casual wear. And I say that like it's some sort of treat, but it's really not. That's kind of my ego speaking. I have a certain way I like to present myself. That is ego, whether I want to admit it or not. Because on this platform, that stuff's irrelevant. People don't care about that. Or if they do, well, they're not exactly... I think I just punched the setup that my webcam is on. Yeah, it's kind of jank, but it works. Your capacity to deal with an ego is similar to your capacity to deal with an addiction, and it is the result of your entire state in your life. The healthier your life, the more your capacity to do this is. Given you also focus on it. Yeah, if you don't focus on dealing with your ego, you're not going to. Your ego just wins because it's part of you. I'd like to think I don't have an ego, or at least not in cases where it actually matters, right? But that's the thing. I never know. And saying I don't have an ego is also tantamount to saying I totally have an ego at the same time. No one's seeing it right now. I have the personality of a wet mop, but I do have an ego. And maybe part of me is just now admitting that. It's what I do with my ego, and I'd like to think that I'm a pretty restrained person when it comes to my ego. I never did mark you in the codex. Fun fact, in addiction therapy, the therapist is more focused on fixing the person's life over preventing substance abuse? Really? Interesting. That's kind of what a year in psychology classes won't really tell you. It's what the various specialties are. That's something I wish the intro classes did a lot more in college and in high school. Is just say this is how you could see your field being useful. Ow. I better pay attention or I will die. Turns out that the substance abuse goes away on its own when a person has a life worth fighting for. Yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. It takes a while to think through, but it does make sense. Because the average person is probably thinking, well, if you fix the substance abuse, the rest goes away on its own, and it's almost backwards in the way you're describing it. It's why you're not really prone to any addictions. It's been a mystery. It's always been a mystery to you. Well, then I'd like to think that's a good thing. It means you're taking care of yourself. And if you're seeking therapy for any reason, your own therapist is helping you through that. The more you get to process and deal with some really big core fears and went through some high experiences, the more everything else got fixed. Sleep, motivation, procrastination, etc. Yeah. And I'm glad that that's fixed. Or I should say fixed. Fixed implies you'll never have those issues again, or that I deny you your humanity. What I should probably say is that they're resolved, and you know how to manage the things behind problems with your sleep, your motivation, and your procrastination. You haven't been procrastinating for many weeks? Awesome. Love to see and hear that. I can't really see it, I have to adjust my sentence. Yeah, it's never fixed, but your mental health is like a thing you relearn your entire life. Yeah, you're constantly adapting new techniques. You're constantly reassessing and recoping all the time. And the painful thing is that I'm self-aware of that. Oh, we're out of alchemics? Oh, damn. Let me fix this. So for those who maybe have not seen this screen before or not seen it in its current iteration, welcome to Elden Ring Reforged's crafting system. Basically, the way it works is you find the ingredients in the world, and you break them down into an intermediary. So poison blooms become noxious extracts, so on and so forth. You then take these newly defined intermediary ingredients, and you make new things out of them. In vanilla, you just took the raw materials and made an item. Here, there's like a second step. But the result of that second step is that there's a lot more that you could do with those intermediary items. So for example, let's say I needed a sliver of meat for something. In vanilla, if I didn't have exactly a sliver of meat, I had to go find a creature and make it drop this sliver of meat. Here, I don't need to do that. I can take the gory amalgam that I make from other things and sub it in accordingly. Which I think is great. Every overhaul mod out there has a different way of handling the crafting. Another really popular overhaul mod is Convergence, Elden Ring the Convergence. And there, the crafting is more or less the same as vanilla, but the drop rates are increased. That kind of thing. Sorry I have to go do some stuff with a friend. No problem, Raspy. Thank you for stopping by. Glad you can make it on for the length of time that you did. Go do some stuff with your friend. Have fun, or be productive, or do whatever you're going to do with your friend. Was fun? Thank you. Might come some other time if you have time. No problem. No rush. I normally stream Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry. Let me take a moment and recalculate that. That would be 11 p.m. is 2100, 2000, 1900, 1800. So like 1700, 2100 Eastern Standard Time. And I guess you'll want to convert that for your own region. But yeah, swing by if you can. Don't blame you if you don't. And take care of yourself. I hope to see you back again sooner rather than later. Now to continue on with the explanation I had before, for anyone else who was listening. With the crafting system, are we really just out? No, we're not out of rune arcs. But we do need more ingenious alchemics, and that means... how many of these? Okay, we can convert... Oh, we only have... We get 8, and it requires 1,000 to make it. It is ingenious, right? Oh, no. I see what the problem is. What? Oh, it's definitely not a... It's 1-to-1 here. Oh, wait, no, I see what happened. Nope, I see what happened. Yep. I converted it the other direction. Holy Jiminy Cricket. It's... About that misspeaking. Alright, I'm gonna kill this dragon and probably mark it. Maybe as we kill Grail's children, we will start to get that codex entry. Oh, that has shockwave to it. Yep, I knew I would do something stupid and died. Do this without rune arcs, Coin. Just do it without rune arcs. Everything is better if you just assume that you don't get any bonuses to your stats. It's literally better this way. Well, at least the thing about dragons, and I have to consider this, we died as part of the kill, and we had another death on the way there. Okay. I have this mapped out the way I want it to. Alright, let's try this again. This time with 100% less screw-ups. Maybe we'll get this one right here, and then I can just focus. Okay, we got the codex entry. Good, good, absolutely perfect. Now we have to do is I think we have to get 2 more entries. One for Grail's children specifically, and then one for Grail herself. I have to be careful or I will die again. At least we get flasks back. That is one of the nice things about killing dragons generally in Elden Ring is if you have the flasks, or as long as you have a decent number of them when you start, you will be able, I guess we'll make a rune arc. I'm feeling greedy. And that helps keep our FP topped off as well. So, as long as you have a decent number of flasks, you will recharge at least 2 of them on dragon kill. It may actually be like a specific number per max number of charges, but this is just a plain Jane dragon. I think this is just a plain Jane dragon. hitting the feet is also a lot easier. We don't even need to hit the head. We can if we want, but all you gotta do is get them feet and you got it. Oh, okay. Gotta be careful. Just establish the kill normally. Get ready for Grail to pop me off my horse. Are you also another plain June dragon? Yeah, you are. Nice. Okay, stop getting stuck on terrain. Oh, that one didn't give me one back. Or if it did, I already subsumed the charge as it was on its way in. Okay, we know Grail was up there. Where are her kids? Alright, she is awoken. We know her kids are somewhere nearby. They acquiesce to us immediately. Yeah, if she roars for her children, they know exactly where you are. At any and all times. What I don't know is that I don't know if they're capable of fly-ins or not. Oh, there's one. There's a second. I've also been powered down. Yep, they're there to fly around to specifically cause me to run into the others. Let's just run into the others and be done with it. Let's just rip that band-aid right off. Oh, and I lost a mark for this. I'm trying to get back up to Grail, but that is getting to be quite difficult. Maybe we could just follow this route system up. wait. And I get knocked off my horse. Okay, come on. Your hide is tough, but your heart is soft. At least let me climb on her. Ah, you're thinking of cutting me off at the pass. I could promise you that's not gonna work. Just gotta... Yeah, there's another one. Okay, now we kind of just run around. Mind the fact that if I'm on my horse too long, Grail will kill it. And this is kind of what the fight is in Reforged. In vanilla, you could just ignore her children and kill her if you bleed her out long enough. But Grail has been modified for Reforged so that you can't do that. It's actually the... Mind my position. There, I know there are other children. Don't get on my horse right now or she will die. I'm sorry, towards a he will die. Okay, how are we looking in terms of where the other dragons are or aren't? Okay, there's not an entry for Grail's children. That works for me. All we have to do is worry about Grail herself. Run. Is it just me, or is there or are there HPs regenerating? Oh yeah, these kids know no mercy. Yep. Yep, that's exactly what I was afraid of. The second I tried to escape, Grail would roar, and I would be unable to move. Nope. Have to move, have to keep moving. I think their HP is regenerating very slowly, but it is. Okay, finally. I only took forever to try to do. Just take the tail where I can get it. 3. Okay, you're gonna do that. Not happening. This is just kind of the whole fight. You just focus your children. It's kind of more of an overworld thing, not like any one boss in particular. I was about to say, you're not getting around your mother's corpse that easily. Alright, and we wait. We're just gonna go back around. Oh, and that roar is not any more dangerous either. Oh, you can't be serious. You have to continually apply pressure. That roar here heals her children. You have to keep fighting. You cannot leave them alone for like any length of time. Yeah, it's not, the heal isn't that high, but it does add up over time. Have to kite them around. Yep. Spent too far out of range from one, and it ports back, and I guarantee it's got full health. No, but it is, like, largely back to where it was. I hate when they do this. Oh, well, that one's just fine. All right. I guess I'm not understanding the mechanic correctly, but that's okay. Alright. And when we get close to killing it, I have to mine both of these. Alright. We've got them in a semi-reasonable position. Now, if we want Grail's entry, we will have to, kite them in a tighter fashion. Welcome to the boss and rage timer. Gotta keep moving. Gotta mind her lifting her head. Mark her. Okay. Wow, on the way, she took my horse out on the way out. What a bitch. Awful. Hate her. What were you guarding, my friend? What did you guard that made me, worth that last minute snub? She like roars. She like does Grail's roar on the way out. That's the problem. What do we have? The Dragon Barrow Minor Erd Tree? Yeah, but before that we got the whole thing at... Also, is that a... No. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break after we do a little bit of leveling. That is a lot of extra damage. Well, okay, it's like 75, but it'll work. 80 arcane is what we're gonna really require, and then after that, 80 is like more or less... It's not really a hard cap. The hard cap is 99, but like after that, there's kind of little point to leveling it past 80, so we might as well pick other stuff. Probably more health, more mind, and more endurance as I need it. Well, I think our faith is where we want it. I don't think there are more beneficial spells we can take for this. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I have a little bit of shilling. More than I already have. I have a little more shilling I need to do. And then after, we will we'll get back to it. I want to get this routing under control. Thank you guys so much for sticking around up to this point. And with that, I will see you guys after this commercial break. Thank you. I am back. My apologies about that. Hopefully everybody has enjoyed the stream so far. I want to thank everybody so much for sticking with me up to this point. I really do appreciate it. If you like the content, or you want to just have someone to talk to consistently, although I'm usually not streaming on Sunday, you know, consider hitting that follow or subscribe, because I don't always edit my stream schedules. And even the calendar, I fall behind on that quite a few times. So, keeping yourself up to date with when I go live is the best way to know when I'm going live. Please also consider joining the Discord. It's free. You just have to follow the stream. You get benefits for doing that already if you're on Twitch. Sorry, YouTube, I don't have anything for you yet, but you should consider subscribing and joining the Discord anyway. Definitely so you don't miss the content that I'm making, or you don't miss when I go live. Either way. If you guys want to support the stream in a more direct fashion, I have several links available in the About Me section on Twitch or in the description on YouTube, I'm fairly sure. Check those out at your leisure. All donations or like tips and stuff go toward the hardware and or software of the stream. For example, I made some money on my own, but I mentioned before that one of the things I was fundraising for was the Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC in Elden Ring. So, what if I told you I have this pre-ordered? It's right here in my cart. Or, not cart, it's right here in the display. Can't miss it. It says DLC right here. Because of that, and because of I promise you, if there were any donations going into it, I would say you guys as well. This was money I made entirely off of house sitting for people. But your donations would go towards stuff like that. It has not having the DLCs for games that we plan on streaming already affects my content to a great degree. You wouldn't think so, but a lot of people are all or nothing when it comes to, you know, streamed games. They're like, good. Either you have the base game or you have DLCs. Not, oh, well, I have some of them. Not all of them. Of course, in Elden Ring's case, it's very much, oh, I have only the base game, but my point still stands regardless. If you want to support my endeavors in making this a reality for myself, as I said before, I am polishing my skills for a somewhat low to the ground house-sitting, house-drop business, but this is going to be a side hustle to that. Definitely. I would very much appreciate any assistance in my life. But you guys never have to do that. Following, subscribing, sharing the content, and being here with me is more than enough. Being here at all is enough. Has to be. This world's too dangerous and unstable for anything else. But I appreciate whatever anybody has to give. Not even, just down. Even makes it smaller than it is. Right down to a tip or bits of 0.01 US dollars. Like 1 cent. 1 cent can mean a lot to me. I've shilled at you enough about that. You guys know where all the levers to push and pull are. Let's proceed onward. Now, with our run, a Deathless fire spells only run, we do have a medallion we have to go get. And Fort Faroth... Actually, no. Fort Faroth doesn't have anything. It has something. Is it the rolled medallion? Hold on. Gotta look at this again. It might be the rolled medallion. Because we got the Deathless medallion. Both halves conjoined. Is it the same trick where with these medallions? No, it's not the same trick. But we're gonna find out anyway. How are we looking on these? 17? Okay. We did... Shit. That spooked the hell out of me. That's right, fall down. It's everyone's favorite dance. It's just dancing in the blood boon fire. That's exactly what it is. That was funny. I was not expecting the puppets on the outside, but you know what? Maybe I probably should have. Oh, I'm about to die if I take that. Okay, let's go back around. So what's up this way? I actually have not been behind Fort Faroth that many times, so I could not really tell you. Can I make that jump? I feel like I'm supposed to drop down. That is not necessary at all. You can just literally walk around. What is this? It's an operatic bat. What the hell? It is a crowned operatic bat. I think I had to kill it in order to get the mark. I don't think that counted. I think I gotta go back, like reset, do it over. We can now kind of like fish around for rune pieces and see what we find. There's like this mound up here that we never explored. That's at least one. There's also the entirety of the right-hand side of the... Oh, this is what that is. Okay. There's the entirety of the right-hand side of the area next to Celia. We never went back to where that troll was throwing these magical pots at us. That could assuredly be where a rune piece is. Oh, right. We rested, so these guys have reset. Okay, so I suppose that the next thing we're gonna do is go back to Fort Faroth. We literally don't need to be here, and we have to mind the you have to mind the regular man bats that are nearby. Actually, this would probably be a good time to reslot some spells. Not too many, but I need one more. Or two more. Yeah, this should be everything. Now let's see if that crowned bat is back over there, or if that is a one-time kill. Nope, that is correct. Also, look, that bat's over there. Alright, you were gonna, like, lure. Come on. I need you over here so I can mark you properly. Is that a ghost flame? Okay, that wasn't really worth anything, but hey, I mean, it's a codex entry, and if we find more of these, we can go back and, or I say if we don't find more of these, we could totally go back and kill it multiple times later if we need to. Speaking of which, we still have those starlight shards, right? Yeah, we have 12. It's enough for two... That's enough for two or three different items. Let's go back. Nope, that is the wrong church. Ugh. Sometimes places are really, or I should say drinks are really strong on the sour component, and sometimes they're not. My stepmother made this cherry pomegranate drink out of a packet mix. And they went really hard on the cherry and not so much of the pomegranate. So it's like extra tart. It's very strong. It's Welch's, though. It's not just any kind of drink mix. It's a Welch's drink mix. And the drink was made salvaging like packets made for individual glasses. So it could very much be, oh, well, why the heck does she do that? But, I mean, it's a drink. It's serviceable. Now, what spells do we have that we could get here? Inescapable Frenzy, not really useful. We have Theodorix's Magma and Agiel's Flame already. Theodorix's comes right from this menu. I don't remember what the Gold Breath is. This would be a reason to have 40 faith. It's probably physical damage, right? Like, it would be the black flame spells. And we have Burn, O Flame. And Flame Fall Upon them. We have Giant's Flame. Okay, there are reasons to have more faith. Maybe 30 is a good dropping point. Because that grants us access to these new spells. Note that this is a fire damage only spell. And not a more interesting challenge run. Because if I said, oh, it has to be a flame spell, then I would obviously be allowing myself the use of Ghost Flame. It is a flame, it conjures fire, but it's Ghost Flame. And I don't think that's a very fun challenge run. It doesn't have as much octane in it, because it's not... I have the option of not being hard-walled to specific things. This forces me to overcome the hard wall. Like, I don't have a choice except deal with the hard wall. Huh. Okay. What about armor? I don't think there's anything that would be worth getting. Maybe the Giant's Flame spell, like, armor, but... I think the most I would want are, like, talismans. What do we have already? We have Faith, we have the Canvas Talisman, the Radigan Icon. And aren't the talismans 10? Yeah, they're 10. Could go for the Fire Scorpion charm. I'm willing to try it. We could just also go for incantation potency. Where's our friend the Mimic tier in this? Mimic tier is right here. Okay, so I think the most beneficial thing is going to be to get a talisman here. And the reason I say that the most beneficial thing is going to be a talisman is that's one fewer thing we'll have to go for when we figure out where the corresponding real talisman is. Because I don't really see anything else that's worth my while. The Faded Wet Blade, but that's like a new game plus item. Yeah, let me explain a little bit about what we're interfacing with here. So if you're not familiar with Elden Ring in general, this place is the very start of the game. There are 2 times when you can be here. One is, of course, when you start the game and load in for the first time. The second is if you come back via the 4 belfries. The 4 belfries have a set of portals that are activated by an imbued stone sword key. One of these. And to get here means we, of course, have to have used one. The only way. And you essentially unlock the sending gate that takes you here. And you start over here when you come back here. And you have to kill the grafted scion that probably killed you in the beginning of the game. Yeah, like you have to do that. And then you can make your way over here, and when you do, you'll be able to go up to that top level where the rest site is, and you'll be able to get the stuff that's here. The Stormhawk King's ashes. I'm sorry, the Stormhawk King key item and Stormhawk Dean or Dina. We'll figure out how that's supposed to be in just a second. Stormhawk Dina. Unless the H is silent and then it's Stormhawk Dean, but I kind of don't think that's the case. Anyway, this is the Stormhawk you're allowed to have. The king you take to Nefeli Lu and give it to her so that she may become the ruler of Limgrave later. Welcome back, Rasby. Glad to have you back. Hopefully you had fun with your friend, or you got what you wanted accomplished. Hope you enjoy your renewed stay. And while we're waiting on conversation to pick back up, what you're able to do once you get to the altar of anticipation and you actually push open those doors the second time, not quite world domination, but it was fun. Good. Glad to hear it. Is you'll unlock this special altar. You can also interface with it at the beginning of the game, but it has an entirely different function. When you interface with it in the middle of a game like we're doing right now, you open up the Starlight Tokens menu. Again, this is a Reforged special. You're not going to find this except in Reforged. So this is one of the key things you could take away and say, this is how it differs from all the other Elden Ring overhaul mods that are out there. Ascension, Convergence, Reborn, Dark Moon, Vigil. No, it's no longer called that. It's called something else. But you can open up the Altar of Anticipation, and you'll be able to exchange a resource you get called Starlight Shards, or Starlight Tokens. You get 10 just for coming in here. You get another 10 every time you complete 20% of this codex. You also get a variable amount every time. No, it's not variable. It's 2. You get 2 Starlight Shards every time you kill a boss and you turn in its remembrance to get these Starlight Shards. It costs 10,000 to do this. I kind of don't recommend it unless you just don't want for anything on runes, like at all. Then you can come here and exchange it. You got all kinds of stuff here. Everything from the beginning of the game up to the end of the game. Doesn't matter where you are. If you've got the Starlight tokens to trade in, you can buy it here. We've already actually made very good use of this to get Blood Boon, which we couldn't get until late game. Blood Flame Talons, which we couldn't get until late game. Whirl o' Flame was also purchased here, as well as Theodorix's magma. Those are all things we can't get until later than we currently are. There's a lot of neat stuff here. If you're playing Reforged for the first time, I'll reply to that in 1 second. If you're looking for, oh, I want to start a new game plus experience, I already know what I'm doing, just go interface with this at the beginning of the game, journey to New Game Plus early, and then you'll get like 150 of the tokens to spend whichever way you want, and enough levels to bring you up to cap. It's very fun. New Game Plus is very hard, but it's fun. Okay. Now that I've said all that, really hyped for work tomorrow. Good. Basically, the audio devices we work on, they are configured with a touchscreen display. I am the person responsible for the software. I think you mentioned that before, but thank you for reiterating. That interacts with the display and configures it. That you did not mention. However, the display was made by a Chinese company and it's super cheap. It's configured through a very badly translated, terrible GUI app. It could do a lot, but it's terrible. Oof. So, are you hyped because it's a problem you're looking to solve, like it's a big challenge, or are you hyped because of something else? It's okay if it's something else. That sounds like a lot of work, but you've mentioned that you enjoy what you do, so I'm hoping it's because it's a challenge and not anything else. Or it's something equivalently good. Let me put it that way. Equivalently good. The reason you're hyped is because you've been experimenting a lot with a program. Equivalently good then. Works for me. That uses OCR, don't know what that is, to extract text from screenshots and mouse and keyboard controls to automatically interface with the program. It's kind of like 80% functional. I want to spend like 2 full days to work on the automation program. It might be able to massively reduce the error proneness. Gotcha. So it's both error prone and probably like proofreading accuracy. It's a biology term related to like DNA transcription and translation, but when we want to call the machinery in our cells, the enzymes responsible for reading DNA, we refer to their ability to proofread. And how accurate they are. Kind of like a typewriter. OCR, optical character recognition? Okay. It's what's used to understand text from images. Okay. Makes sense, because otherwise there's no way that a program would be able to, right? You would have to... I'm not even sure if there's another equivalent for that. Probably got it in characters or like strings otherwise. Okay. Now that I have supped on drink and nearly spit on myself, not on purpose, let us figure out what we're supposed to be doing. Oh, but we never grabbed a spell, did we? We didn't grab the 2 spells. I gotta be here a little bit longer. Okay, which 2 spells do I want? Technical challenge? Gotcha, for some reason. Some fields just have no support for hotkeys like Control A. So it's both. Well, it's a challenge, but also when... Yeah, no. It's definitely because it's a technical challenge. Okay. Yep. I had to parse my own reasoning for a second. And then the payoff for that challenge is massively reduced workload. Yeah, I could get behind that. I want to do the same thing with like my video editing process. Like right now as it is, I kind of have to listen through the video each time. And as I'm listening, I kind of have to stop, go make the necessary edit I'm supposed to make, then go back and keep listening. And with my arm being as bum as it kind of is right this second, Tennis elbow. Yay. Editing videos is really hard right now. I'm kind of waiting for the tennis elbow to relax. It always kicks in when I want to edit something, unfortunately. Technical challenge, but also not the challenge anyone expected you to try to do that. I came up with the initiative to do that, and your long-term goal is to hard automate everything you're doing. Yeah, I could get behind that. Increases productivity. There are a lot of intrinsic and extrinsic reasons for doing what you're doing. I hope that works out for you. I hope there's not a snag that causes it to be complicated. I'm confident you'll be able to work through any snags that you do experience, but my hope is that that it's straightforward and you don't have to do that. Complicated is interesting. It's tedious, but it's interesting. Humans eventually tire of tedious and interesting. Eventually. Project manager did not expect nor ask you to do anything to make it easier. Honestly, they put you on the project because you're a new person and it's kind of repetitive. Yeah, I've heard of that a lot. But I'm using this opportunity to use any breather to build long-term stuff. Yeah, I've heard that's really quite common, where they stick the new guy on something that's meant to log a lot of keyboard hours, or like long sessions at the desk. Let's hope that they're putting you there because yeah, it's repetitive, but you're actually needed, and not just, oh, I need to log keyboard hours. I need to know your number of clacks per second on the keyboard, that kind of thing. Because that's a really common office practice in the US, is companies will have these sneaky typing rate, like, monitors, apps that they use and don't tell their employees about. And they bring them in any time that the type rate is less than a certain amount. I'm a tiny bit worried that they underappreciate the value you're adding. Fully natural, because you go super fast compared to anyone else that be in your position. Here's hoping that that's an unnecessary worry and not something you actually need to worry about. Everything you build is aimed at long-term structure, stability, and predictability. I don't bring a solution that works. I bring a very high value solution. Not only that it works, but also that it is high value. Yeah. I know if I were hiring, I'd look for an employee that does that sort of thing. So here's hoping they think the same way. Because you can't read people's minds. Now, I need to figure out these spells. I guess I will take Flame Fall Upon Them and Giant's Flame Take Thee. And then begin spending faith to get there, or begin spending runes to get there. Then I also aim to build everything fast as you can, by cutting everything that's not needed. Make scripts for a lot of the stuff. The good part is that it's possible. I suppose the bad part might be, you know, I had a contact, and Ob10, like the Discord community that I was part of for a while, I still am, but I'm about to like steer off a cliff and die. Let's not do that. It is fun to do, but you've got to live the rest of your life as well. Gotcha. Honestly, I could lay back my job super. You could take it easy on your job if you really wanted. I could take the short-term approach, like the vast majority of your coworkers, and there'll probably be some points where you do that. Look, let's not kid yourself, but here's hoping that when you do that, and I know you will, because I have a fairly good grasp of your work ethic, that you'll take those easier paths at work because you've already taken the hard path, and now you don't have the hard path to take anymore. To tie that back into the story that I was about to go through, this contact of mine that I used to talk to fairly often, he said he would often pitch a new idea at work. I think he worked for an architecture company where he focused on a lot of the internal drafting software, and he would pitch an idea and it would get rejected. So his next logical question would be, why? Why is the idea rejected? Is there something about it that could be fixed? Is there something about it you don't like? And the answer he literally got one time was, we need something for the new guys to do. We need this process to ensure that people are working in a way that we can measure them. Which I thought was absolutely ludicrous. My mouth dropped when I heard that. Again, that's a really common tactic at American firms or other places of employment. We have to have something, or we don't have to, but people feel compelled to be able to measure the work rate of their employees and be able to hire and or fire new ones based on like the average work rate. It's really strange. I would hate being in a job like that. That it's a lot of high stress for no reason, and you would like to make things more efficient, but sometimes the uppers literally are, we need things this way, this inefficient way, for this reason, take it or leave it. And you just have to sit there and be like, okay, it didn't have to be this way. You could have found another way to measure employee productivity if you really wanted it, but... Okay, I have marked the correct boss, so we're good to get back to Kalè. Yeah, company ethic is really important. I agree with that 100%. Unfortunately, there's only so much people can do, and being employed, like, being able to meet your basic needs has to come first, but... Yeah, if you can afford to have scruples about that type of thing, you should. Your company is a lot better than others. Good. It's more ethical and really emphasizes feedback. Good. And I hope that's not what we call performative, like ethics, where. Let me use another term with what that means. So, there's a term making the rounds called performative wokeness, which means you're a nice person and care about people's basic rights up to the point where they affect your bottom line or at some other threshold, and then suddenly you're very much like anti-rights on specific things. Here's hoping that is not performative ethics, where they emphasize and really stress your feedback, only for them to turn around, take your feedback, reject it, and not give you any kind of meaningful follow-up to that rejection, or for the ethics to be just for show. For the most part, it does seem to be for show. That's good. Although I say that I didn't get to know the decisions behind me getting assigned to this project. But besides that, I found nothing. Yeah, something like there's a difference between need to know and just being evasive or making non-committal answers to your employees for no reason. They're also like humanitarian. They help local communities a lot. Yeah. I'm not trying to make you doubt your workplace or anything. Even if it's just for PR, they are actively helping stuff. Good. Yeah, I'm not trying to make you doubt your workplace or anything. Like, I want you to have a good relationship with them. Just... in the back of my mind, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. Oh, what if the people above me have ulterior reasons for doing what they're doing and not just, this is my job? Having an agenda I don't know about. That's the thing that concerns me. Because I've been greeted with that too many times before in my own personal life. People having agendas. Well, everyone has one, but having an agenda that actively steers you off course or keeps you from doing what you want to and or are supposed to be doing. I know a lot of workplaces have a bad reputation. You were very wary, smart, and biased before you got hired and thought it was probably a terrible workplace. It's nice to hear that's not the case, that your opinion has pivoted. Okay, we need to kind of like, we need to get a more convenient rest spot. Or maybe there isn't one. I'm forgetting myself when it comes to Kalè. As I've said, this is just kind of to the collective audience here. My knowledge of Elden Ring does start to drop off at around this point. Granted, I still know a lot of it, but it totally drops off after we reach Lanedell. I'll be figuring stuff out for my first time again. But Kalè is where it kind of starts to get patchy and fuzzy. Can you zoom in and wrap around? And I suppose the whole me doing my own business thing is kind of my really rather vain attempt I need to mark one of these things. I suppose me doing this whole house sitting business as kind of my attempt to sidestep all that. Like, it's a ludicrous notion, and the amount of debt I'm in, it won't work. But I know that and I want to do my best to avoid going into conspiracy theory, so I won't. And let me interrupt myself to read this. This was because a friend of yours told you that the signs he sees is that people deal with a lot of crunch and stuff back then. Yep. And I was way more negatively biased than was warranted. So I learned that as well. Yeah. Sometimes having someone else check your biases is important. I also got at least 2 friends who are heavily biased against any company. Let me watch my backside a second. Without knowing anything about their ethics and such, yeah. I think you should go on Do Not Disturb on Discord. You hear Discord notifications? Great. Thanks for letting me know that wasn't just me, by the way. Let me see what I can do on my side. Of course, Discord would be... Okay, so if I go... I'm just gonna have to flick this setting on and off. I hate this. Let me go switch over here. It would be under notifications, right. And I get the email notices. That's probably fine. Okay. Okay, hopefully that is fixed, and it might take Discord a second to do that. My setup, I'm afraid, is not perfect. Even though I have the SteelSeries sonar, which lets me kind of like adjust what's on the capture card or what's getting routed to the capture card in terms of audio, sometimes it takes multiple days for it to update or for it to recognize I've pathed something differently or turned something off. It's very frustrating. And Discord is about as frustrating. From what my friends are telling me, you kind of can really only have one Discord instance at a time. I don't know how not only one Discord. You can have multiple Discord instances, but it starts not acting right if there's more than one instance of Discord going on at the same time, loaded with all your stuff. I'll have to play around with it. Oh, great. Nice game. I'm glad you had the decency to notify me 3 seconds after I landed that I took damage. Great. So I guess to kind of like keep everyone... Oh. Sorry about that. Excuse me. Well, I wasn't expecting a dragon down here. Any reason you disabled the message sound instead of swapping Dean? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I should do that. Switch to... I'm not very good at toggling my Discord statuses. I feel like I might forget if I do that. Also, sometimes my sibling messages me, and I kind of want to make sure I get notified of it. But that's just going to have to be me getting better about checking Discord, and not only relying on notifications to do that. In fact, I should write that. I mean, it's one of those I shouldn't have to write it down, but I'm going to for my own sanity. Nice, and I have to mind that dragon. I feel like I just got found out. I sure did. I wrote that down just in the nick of time. Wow. That dragon was like, you better hurry it up. Yes, I feel like I shouldn't have to make reminders about this stuff. Maybe I need to kind of get over that self-imposed guilt about it. Because I'm 32, but I'm not old. Or I'm not quite 32, but I'm very nearly there. I should not be having to make reminders for myself to check my damn messages, to open my texts, to make sure I empty my voice box. But I do. I don't know if it's I don't quite care enough to fix those things. Why is that? I also do that. Well, in my case, I do have debt collectors, you know, after me. As far as, like, the phone is concerned. If it's for Discord, I couldn't tell you. I really could not. It baffles my sibling and family when I don't have that stuff managed properly. Because they feel like I'm not really reliable when I can't be messaged properly. Which is true. If you can't get a hold of someone and you need them to be up for some reason, and you find out, oh, I just didn't check my phone. It's a feel bad. It's a feel bad for everybody involved. And it makes everyone think you're not reliable. And I don't like to think that I'm not reliable, but maybe I put on that air to people. So, I don't know. I guess we talked this all out, but maybe I have to sit down and figure out where my emotions and feelings are on that, and figure out what I can do to stop feeling them, to stop feeling the guilt. It's probably as simple as make sure you check your voice box. Make sure you check your messages. Make sure you set your Discord correctly. And not be lazy. That's probably the number one reason, is that I'm lazy. I don't feel like changing it. But that is a discussion I will have with myself, not on camera, because questioning yourself on air with no reason behind it is very weird. This isn't a Dr. Phil show. I know I talk about just about anything, but this ain't a Dr. Phil show. I'm not here to poorly psychoanalyze my own head on camera. I'm here to give everybody what's inside of it. I'm here to unscrew it open, and here you go. This is what I'm thinking, but I still have to modify that for public media consumption, because I think I would be a lot more blunt, and there would probably also be missing sentences if I were to ever just fully unlid the contents of my head. Fair enough, and I'm sure you'll figure it out with enough time, and I think whatever that takes, if it's a little or a lot more, it's fine. Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it. The validation is nice. What are we... I feel like I'm wondering, even though I'm going toward the target destination, I feel like I'm wandering so aimlessly. Just as a reminder to myself, more than anything else, we are currently headed toward the Putrid Minor Erdtree Avatar. These lovely little bosses, the Putrid version spit out scarlet rot all over the place, but I feel it... Oh, hello, Sir Bear. Fun fact, I have a lot of friends in the 32 to 34-year-old range. I have people double my age, or like 1.5 times my age for friends. I hardly have, or I have people younger than me. I don't have anyone my own age. Not really. And the one guy I am kind of rekindling with, like, reconnecting with, I need to get back and talk to him again. But, you know, he's a father and has a kid. He doesn't have time to be, you know, socializing it up with me. He should be making sure he takes care of his family. That comes first. Period. Your family is what you have. And especially if you make your own family. You marry and you make your own kid. That sounds weird, but you have offspring. Like, biological offspring. That's a lot of time and energy poured into something that's beyond yourself. So taking care of that is important, and it should be cherished. Otherwise, all that effort is wasted, right? You don't want to, you don't want to spend time into wasted things. If you want, you could surely try. One of my friends does have like 2 kids who go to school. He still chats with me when he's up for it. Yeah, I'm overthinking. I know what it is. It's up to him to set the boundary of whenever he'll talk to you or not. And that's another one of my problems. It's not that I transgress boundaries. I'm thinking so much about other people's boundaries and not wanting to tread upon them that I forget to act for myself, and I don't even bother reaching out to people because I'm worried about that. I'm always thinking about it all the time. My sibling and I discussed this last night even, where they were like, you really think about what it is you want to say don't you? You're always thinking about what you should and shouldn't say. I'm like, well, that's me not wanting to, It probably is anxious attachment. It's, when I don't think of what I should and shouldn't be saying, or should or shouldn't be doing, bad things happen to me in childhood. Whether it was discipline, warranted or not, or people got mad. People got upset. Because I was a very brash, rude child growing up. And I didn't, being the neurodivergent person that I am, a lot of that stuff just didn't develop properly. And even now, it's one of those, I have to make sure I'm thinking through it. It requires a lot more effort than I let on. It really does. So I get nervous and anxious, and I don't want anyone else being upset, anxious, or angry. Whether it me or just in general, I'm not super comfortable in those situations. So I try not to get testy with people. Also, I just realized we went the complete opposite direction, and we went almost underground. You're probably right in that it is anxious, and maybe that's the heart of it, right? You figure out what a person really is, you assess all of their thought patterns, and you can, if you do, you can arrive at the core emotion that governs a person. Maybe mine is anxiety. Maybe mine is, I don't want to say fear. It's not fear. It is anxiety. I need therapy. Of course, that is... Futured Avatar, I was having a good heart-to-heart, and you just had to ruin it. I'm gonna engage you on my own terms. And Futured Avatar was like, I'm not done with you, boy. Get back here. Oh, you didn't leave. Go back. Go disappear. Oh my god. Just literally go anywhere else, Erdtree Avatar. A lot of it comes down to the boundaries you set for yourself. Yeah. Usually you know what you're willing and not willing to do. You don't feel worried about saying or doing the wrong thing that much. Yeah, I think I have pretty clear boundaries. I'm very vocal when I don't like something. I'm very vocal when it comes to not wanting to do this thing, or I need to do this thing. We all need therapy. Single truest sentence ever typed in this chat. We all need therapy. Therapists have their own therapists. Yep. Another truism. And even my friend who dedicated most of his life to this stuff goes to therapy regularly. I need to be insured first. That's gotta happen so I can actually go to therapy. It's not free. It does cost money and a chunk of my time to address things that I may not be able to financially do anything about it, but gotta start somewhere, and that doesn't change how true it is. Only I have to think about how it's gonna work for me. But you're not the first person to tell me that. Or you're not the first person to have said that to me, and we both kind of come to an instantaneous agreement on it. Gotta be able to afford the therapy. Gonna have to figure out what to do in the meantime. Alright, I think that Erdtree Avatar has gone back to doing what they're doing. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the fight to the Avatar. This may or may not be surprising, but observing the core issues of a person as a therapist is actually, I need to be careful, is actually pretty straightforward and easy. The hard part is slowly going through that and supporting the person at the same time. Yeah, because you're dealing with a lot of uncomfortable subject matter, right? You're dealing with trauma, or you're dealing with stuff that may involve repressed trauma, or stuff that is very sensitive in nature for a person. And being supportive and also making the deep dive that you have to do for it is really tough. I've had my sibling explain this to me once before. This is one of the main things you had to deal with when helping friends. Knowing everything about their issue actually does very little at all. Yeah. Knowledge is power, and it is a curse at the same time. It's more about what you do with the knowledge you do have of their situation, or your ability to support them, that really matters more than anything else. Now, since it is 2 hours, and since the last time that command has been issued, I am going to demonstrate it in chat now. For those who do not know or have not been here before, typing in exclamation boss, BOSS, all one word, all lowercase, into the chat. I'll do demonstrations here on YouTube and on Twitch. I will acknowledge sentences, or I'll especially make sure I acknowledge, you know, hellos and hi's and how are you, but otherwise, focusing on just one thing at a time. Yeah. Even if you were fully open to the stuff you observed, you're gonna get the most of improving your mental health by thinking of what you value and focusing on just one thing at a time. I'm very self-aware of my own problems. I'm very self-aware of what I need to do, which makes it all the more infuriating when I can't, well, not can't, but struggle to focus on. Maybe I haven't done too much of the sitting down step at a time where it really mattered. I introspect all the time, but it's never targeted or focused like that. It's more just sifting through the day's general thoughts. And when you go max speed, it takes months, likely years, and you're guaranteed bad setbacks as well. Yep. Everything you've said. Truism. Correct. I've already experienced that. Very aware. Now, in the interest of not rambling on, and not about this conversation, but just me doing what I collectively call the Stormwind Shuffle. For those of you World of Warcraft veterans out there who know it, I am going to focus on this boss fight. I will see you guys once it is finished. Wish me luck, though I hope I do not need it. Oh, I thought I tapped the button in time. Okay. Try again. I definitely think one of my problems with that was just I was a little bit too late on tapping the dodge button. By the way, this is the lovely point where I can demonstrate two things. First, I got a pointer. I made a pointer. I already have it cropped and everything. Just gotta size it down. You may or may not have noticed, but in the bottom right-hand corner where my red, very badly done pointer is, I have a controller. I have a controller readout. So if I'm talking about delayed button presses, if anyone's been paying attention, they can likely look to that bottom right-hand corner and notice when I'm pressing things or doing something else. It's really cool. All that stuff is contained on the game computer. This is where I store it, and I'm using a NDI style method in order to show that to you and not have it take up space on my streaming computer, because the streaming computer is almost at its limit on what it can do. However, there is hope. We usually think about that once we have the stuff we want, we'll be happy. But it's the other way around. You have to be content first to be able to work towards your goals. Your mind can build this fantasy of what it would be like if you had the stuff you wanted or other stuff like a relationship. Yeah, but in reality, if you really look at the people who have gotten those things, they feel really empty. There's actually a significantly high suicide rate among the best athletes in some sports, the ones who actually win. Huh, that's interesting. That's really profound. You think if you'd have it well, you wouldn't, especially if you win, that would be some measure of happiness, right? But I guess it's an achievement, and achievements do not necessarily equal happiness. Especially if you're either pantomiming it. Yeah, you can't fix an internal issue through external means. Exactly. Guess when you really sit down to think about it, external issues must be fixed through external means, and internal ones must be fixed through internal means. Sometimes there's overlap, but the overlap is usually external issue can be fixed internally, but especially not always. And the dopamine and endorphins that you get from them makes it so much harder to accept that. It does. Humans are dopamine and endorphin seekers. My friend who went through successful business went through a lot more mental shit than my friends who did nothing with their life. Hits home. I've done quite a bit, and I'm only just now really dealing with the mental stuff on my end. Whereas my sibling almost did make something of themselves and definitely went through a lot more stuff than I ever did. They're dealing with a lot more issues, although they have therapy for it, whereas I do not. I am going to fix that, but it takes time. However, in my case, definitely not just internal acceptance. There's definitely some external stress, yep, and other things. Huge value in getting a job, don't get me wrong. Yeah. If this thing I'm doing doesn't work out, or I feel really pressed, I know what I need to do. And that's to go visit one of the state's temp agencies and see about getting a temporary job. But 9 out of 10, your mind builds a fantasy of something that isn't there. That there's somehow some kind of everyday happiness once you get there. Shit. Wow, and you can't run that. You have to dodge. Run! I was not ready for that yet. Give me 1 second. I'm waiting for... Oh. You're still meandering up here? Get back. Yeah, I saw him demo a tree just now to get to me. I guess I'm just gonna have to dip all the way down. Alright. Now I can actually finish reading. That there's somehow some kind of everyday happiness once you get there. It won't happen, but you can start accepting in the now what you were dealing with and where you're at. The good part of all this is that you can do stuff for yourself always in the